Hi everyone, this is Mr. Thomas. This video is going to cover Module 1, Section 3, and we're going to pop into that right now. If you don't remember where that is, that's going to be in the Module 1 Study Activities. One very quick reminder, when you go into these study activity folders, these study activities are not to be handed in. They're simply for you to study with. We've already covered Module 1, Part 1 and Part 2. Today we're going to be on Part 3. Pop into that real fast. There's 3 parts. The first part is about an evolution of college, which is a funny way of saying how we're going to transition from a high school mindset to a college mindset. And I'll talk more about that in a minute, but even if you're still in high school taking this class as dual enrollment, we're expecting you to perform at a college level. So this is the idea of kind of sloughing off those high school attitudes and moving more towards the college, the attitude of being successful in college. Mostly looking at it in the terms of how much time are you going to spend, how do what do you commit in terms of daily work. Basically, what are you going to sacrifice to be successful in college? And I think you'll find it's different for most people than high school. The next thing we're going to be talking about professional skills. This is a discussion about how to basically establish your hard and soft skills. And these are things that you can be doing now in high school if you're still there, or these are things that all young people really have to basically harden and develop, are these hard and soft skills. And then finally we're going to be talking about academic integrity, which again is another thing that happens when you get to college. Is cheating is just very simply not something we do. And if you do, well, we'll talk about the consequences of cheating when we get there. Then of course there is a quiz. This will be the first quiz that we take, and that's going to be the assignment for this module. We'll cover that in a minute. Let's go back up here. When we open up this PDF, I hope you'll notice that it's surprisingly short. It's only 4 pages, and a lot of these pages are not very dense in terms of information. So this is a quick read. This is Derivative of the Blueprint for Success in College by Dave Dillon, and here's all the licenses, plus reading exercises is a derivative of college success by somebody at the University of Minnesota, and here's the licenses. So we are legal using this. The doors we open and close each day decide the lives we live. I wonder if you could reflect on that for a minute and think of what that means. And then now that minute is up, I will tell you what I see it as. I see it as we make choices about which doors to go through. But a lot of times it's kind of fate that puts those doors in front of us. So how do we, there's a Boy Scout motto, maybe it's not Boy Scouts, but chance favors the prepared mind. You're going to have odd things happen to you in your life. You're going to have odd coincidences or odd situations happen in your life. How prepared are you going to be to take advantage of those? Okay, by learning to become a better learner, a better college student, a better professional, a better this and that, you're going to be more lined up to take advantage of these opportunities. I know that when I was young, I can remember very specific instances when people offered me a situation that would have been very lucrative, and I just was not prepared to take advantage of that because I was still very immature. Had I matured more quickly, I could have been further along than I am now simply by taking advantage. What does that mean? Let's take a look at these things right here on this checklist, and let's see if we're prepared to do these. And essentially, yes, I want you to check as many of these as you're prepared to do to be successful in school. Do you think you will approach classes and homework exactly as you did in high school? If you do, I wonder what will happen. I can tell you that college is not high school. Do you think you'll decide immediately what I want to major in and never change my mind as I move forward through my courses? Is that something that sounds like what you would do? How about manage my time well so I have enough time to study and start on assignments well ahead of the due dates? And of course, you know what, I think I'm just going to start talking about these. Obviously, some of these are correct and some aren't. There's no way that you should approach college the same way as you did in high school. It's very different. It's going to have different demands of you. It's going to have an entirely different paradigm or way of thinking. For one thing, you're going to spend much less time actually in class in college. It's going to be physically sitting in front of the class, and now with virtual it's even less. I think physically sitting in the class at college is just not going to be that common. If you do take a more traditional approach to college, you're going to be sitting in class 3 days a week for about an hour and a half of class. That's 4.5 hours a week. That's nothing compared to, well, I guess that is, but you're also only going to be taking 3 or 4 classes. So let's say you spend 4 hours a week in class times 4 classes, that's 16. That's 3 hours a day, maybe a little bit more than 3 hours a day of school. What are you supposed to do the rest of the time? Well, the rest of the time we expect you to sit and work and study and read and prepare for your class and take care of all your other responsibilities, so that when you do get to class, you're totally devoted to class. It's not like in high school where you can show up and go to sleep first hour. Here's another one. Should you decide immediately what you want to major in and never change your mind as you move more forward through courses? That is not what college is about. College is not, why won't this go away? College is not about knowing what you want to do when you get there. One of my favorite questions to ask class, if we were actually in class, I would have asked you, what do you think you want to be when you grow up? And my favorite answer is I'm not sure. And I'll tell you why I like that, and that's because that's what college is. One of the functions of college is to expose you to so many different careers and so many different opportunities. So if you go into college, if you look around right now and go, oh, I know exactly what I want to be when I grow up, while that's admirable, and I like the idea of someone being that proactive about their future, be prepared to look around and go, oh God, I didn't even know that was a thing. Man, maybe I'd rather do that. That kind of a student is a student that is possibly going to do better in school because they're not so rigid with their plans. Now, the other end of that, of course, is I don't know what I want to be, so I'm just going to take every class I can find, and then one day I'll pick. That's also not a good idea either. But somewhere in between, open to new ideas, maybe with a goal, but open with new ideas and being able to change that goal. Time management, as I think I've said before, is one of the biggest things. So managing your time well is going to be just a huge key to success, and managing your time well includes things like making to-do lists, making calendars, prioritizing on both of those, and then setting your jaw and saying, no, I will do this first. Now, to be clear, when it comes to time management, one of the things that I think is important in time management is making time for yourself, making time to rest or play, but doing all of it in a moderation, doing all of it with a plan. And if you have that plan, and I know it seems kind of dull to plan your fun, but if you have that plan, if you have that time set aside, if you know that this Saturday your friends want to go to the beach, then what you can do is you can plan around that, and you know that now I got to put in a little bit extra time the next 3 or 4 days to make up for the time I'm not going to go to the beach, or I'm not going to be working on Saturday so I can go to the beach. That's what we mean by time management. It doesn't mean just sit and work all day, but it does mean plan your time better, modify your time around your responsibilities. How about adopting a positive attitude and work on staying motivated to succeed? This is what we were talking about with intrinsic versus extrinsic last couple of modules. When you have somebody on the outside motivating you, such as your parents or a wife, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, that works some. But the best form of motivation, the best way to be successful, is to find your internal motivation, and it starts with a positive attitude. Do we want you to give up everything else in life while in college? And I would say absolutely not. I would say that you need to make college your top priority, and that does mean top priority overall, over relationships, over family, over job, current job, over hobbies. That doesn't mean give all those other things up, and it doesn't mean that you have to have it as a constant top priority. It just means that your default priority is college. Now, if you have to set it to the side and go spend time with your family, outstanding. If you have to set it aside and go spend time with your significant other, or if you have to set it aside and take care of yourself in terms of playing or having a hobby, then what we want you to do is learn how to prioritize college so that you can then be caught up or even be ahead of the game, so that when you do need to set it aside, you're not falling behind because you're spending time with your family or your significant other or you're playing. That's what we mean by making it top priority. We don't expect you to give up everything else in life. That would be terrible, and it's not very healthy. So we want you to have a healthy mix of all of these things, but mainly we want you to keep college as your top priority. That is the goal. By making college your top priority, understanding that I can do everything else once I get college done, you're never going to get behind, and you'll be doing very well on assignments because you won't be doing them last minute and rushed. You'll never have to cheat, which is something we're going to talk about in a minute. And you'll find it more suitable or satisfying. And I think you'll find that you got tons of time. There's a lot of time in the day, and when you stop procrastinating and start prioritizing, you'll see that you got time to get everything done. Okay, you're going to talk to your advisor about taking classes. Absolutely. Then we're going to make sure that we take classes that match our learning styles, which you haven't learned about yet, but you will. I love this one. If I had to come up with a list of top 5 things to do to be successful in school, one of them would be to form study groups. Please believe me that working alone is nice. Working alone is important, but a lot of you guys work alone because it's easier. A lot of you guys work alone because it's you don't have to step outside of your comfort zone. But study groups are shown over and over and over again to be motivational, and it is extrinsic motivation, I'll agree, but to be motivational and to be much more helpful. So I think we're going to talk more about study groups soon, but I want you to be thinking about study groups. Talk to your instructors. This says be sure to tell my instructors what they think I want to hear. No instructor wants that, and any instructor that does, they're not worth having as a teacher. When I talk to my students, I want my students to tell me the truth. Okay, the truth is the most important thing here in terms of relationship with you and your instructor, because it lets your instructor know how they can help you. It lets your instructor know where they're struggling, and it lets your instructor be able to advise you on how to improve. So just don't tell them what they want to hear. Oh yes, Mr. Thomas, I'm doing fine. Oh no, I'll have that done in plenty of time. I'm halfway done. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear, God, Mr. Thomas, I've worked on this. I just don't understand it, and I really could use some help. That's how you're going to get things done better. Make good friendships and interact with a wide range of people on the campus. I believe in diversity. I believe in learning from other people. I believe that I am a 50-year-old white Christian male, and I know lots of those people, and to be honest with you, I find them boring. So when I meet someone that doesn't fall in that demographic, I find them very interesting, and I want to spend time and talk to them. I also find it easy to learn from that type of situation once I adopt that type of an attitude. And next thing you know, I'm learning so much more in life because I have surrounded myself with diversity, people that think differently from me. Okay, you know, surrounding yourself with diversity with people that think differently from you is synonymous, maybe not synonymous, but it goes hand in hand, which I guess means the same thing, with thinking outside of the box. And outside of the box thinking is the goal here, because that's going to be where you do your best work. Okay, so surround yourself with a diversity of people, a diversity of things, a diversity of ideas, and you're going to find yourself in a very, very different learning situation and a very different mindset that you may find one day and just go, wow, this is great. Now, that's not to say that the people are similar to you don't have something to offer either, but it's easier to relate to them, and it's easier to interact with them. Step outside of your box, interact with someone that's different. I think you'll find this very awesome. Prepare for each class every day. Are you going to do that? I would say prepare for each class the night before or the week before or the month before, but be prepared for each class every day is a way to write this. That also doesn't just mean academically. That means physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, if that's your thing. And so how do you prepare? How do you focus? Something we're going to talk about. How about this? If I read too slowly, I look for Cliff's Notes summaries of the reading so I don't lose time reading whole book textbook chapters. No, that's not something we're going to be doing. I hope not. This is not a recipe for success. Cliff's Notes had in other summary types situations, they have a purpose, but that purpose is not to be your sole source of study. If you have resorted to these summaries, then you didn't do very well making your own summaries, which I would encourage you to do. If that's all you use, then you're really missing out tremendously. Cliff's Notes would be there to help supplement what you're already studying, and you'll notice that when we get into the note-taking section. Check the class syllabus for important assignments and exam dates, and begin scheduling study periods well ahead of time. And again, this goes back to one of my top 5 things. Have a schedule, stick with it, make a plan, make a schedule, make a calendar and populate that calendar as much as you can with everything. If you're going to have, the due dates and assignment dates from all of your classes, the any study sessions, your work schedule if you're working, put it all on one calendar so you can see it, and then you are going to have a better idea of how your week goes, and you have a far less chance of forgetting things if everything is on one calendar, and you're going to get a better idea of oh gosh, that's all I have for this day. Wow, maybe I can rest and relax and not be so busy. Or no, this day I really need to focus because I got a lot going on. It's a big help. Okay, what will your daily life be like? Well, college is not jump up and run at high speed and stay at it all day. From the outside, people looking at it probably think, God, lazy college students. But if you want to do it right, you are going to have to be putting in a lot of time. Now, it's not necessarily physically demanding. It's not necessarily even emotionally demanding. It is mentally demanding. You're going to be expected to complete an incredible amount of work in a weekly time frame. And that's fine because you're going to be able to do it. But you're going to have to totally adjust the way you approach things, okay? And then there is the downtime. You get time in between sessions, and so and when I say that time, I mean time between semesters. Take advantage of it. Go rest, go see your family, go do your fun stuff then. Schedule your things. I cannot believe the number of people who plan on getting married right in the middle of a semester. I can't believe the number of people who start a semester 8 months pregnant, knowing that there's simply no way they're going to get through this class. So you need to think about things like that. And if you have chosen to get pregnant, which is awesome and I love it, but if you've chosen to get pregnant, please consider taking that semester off to spend time with your family, deal with the pregnancy and the birth, and then deal with the newborn until you're prepared to go back to class. And that's just one example. Getting married, I can't tell you the number of people who come to me and say, hey, Mr. Thomas, I know we just started class, but listen, I'm going on vacation for 2 weeks. Is that going to be okay? And my answer is no, it's not going to be okay. So plan your time better, learn how to take advantage of the downtime. There's even downtime on a daily basis. You'll have like an 8 o'clock to 9:30 class, and you may have another class until 11 o'clock, and you have an hour and a half there. Now, a lot of people would like to just go goof off, watch TV, or I don't know why I highlighted that, goof off, watch TV or whatever, but an hour and a half in between classes is an astounding thing. There's a reason they schedule it that way, because it gives you time to get together with your study group and either review what you just learned in the previous class, preview what you're going to learn in the next class, go over your notes, and there's lots of learning that can be done. And if you find that you learn how to do these things more efficiently, you'll find that college isn't so tough. Okay, read all of this, please. There's a lot more here. I'm just hitting what I think is important. Also know a couple of things like how much time do you have in your life for school? Do you have what it takes for full-time status? Full-time status is 12 or more credits per term, and they actually limit you to 18. I had to get permission 1 year to take 21 because it was my last semester and I needed to finish. But they limit you to 12. They limit you to 18, but typically full-time is 12. That's 4 classes. Now, 4 classes may not seem like much. A lot of you guys are taking 7 high school classes right now, but there's a difference. And I need you to understand that a high school class and a college class are not the same thing. Read through all this and try to understand, especially the part where it talks about how much homework or outside of class you need to spend. If you take, the rule of thumb is for every credit hour that you take in class, you're supposed to spend 3 hours per week outside of the class. 1 3-credit class means 9 hours a week outside of the class. 12 credits per semester means 36 hours outside of the class. And that's actually about right. When you get now with this class, maybe not so much. It's not as difficult a class, but you're going to find classes that are even harder. They're going to require even more time. But it averages out to where you spend an hour in the class for a 3-credit class and 3 hours out on a weekly basis. Maybe it doesn't quite work out like that, but you know what I mean. So do you have that kind of time? Yeah, but Mr. Thomas, I got a job. Well, where's our priority? Is your priority with your job? Because is that job what you want to do for the rest of your life? Then move that down. maybe find a different job. There are tons of part-time jobs in which you can work, make a little bit of money, and still maintain your full time at school. Do you need to work? Why do you need to work? That's another thing to think about. I need to work because I need money. Well, why do you need money? Well, I got to pay bills. What bills? Do you have a scholarship that covers everything, but you needed that nice new TV or that nice new car, or you know, or those things like that? Are you paying too much for a bar tab, that sort of thing? Learn how to cut back on your bills so that you may not have to work so much. The goal with scholarships and student loans was to keep students from having to work so they could focus on college. But today we've gotten to the point where we feel like we have to do it all. We have to have the nice car, go out and eat all the time, and have the nice television and the brand new gaming console. But we put all that on credit, or we have to work a full-time job to pay for all of it and try to figure out how to go to college at the same time. What is your priority? And this is another example of prioritization. You don't need that nice car right now. You need to be able to focus on college. And then finally, this page, here's a work. Yeah, no, I guess this is the last page. Here is a worksheet for you guys to kind of peruse. You can add to it. In addition to all of this, you can add to it here. And so this is interesting. Full-time attendance is 15 hours in class a week, 30 hours or more for homework. Sleeping is 42 hours. Eating, that really comes down to about 10.5 hours a week of eating. 20 hours of work, that's a half-time schedule. That adds up to be 117.5 hours. Well, there's 168 hours in a week. If you do all of this, you still have 50 hours a week left to do. Well, what could you do with that? Maybe you need to bump up your studying a little bit. Your homework maybe needs to take, out of that 15 hours, maybe you need to add 15 more here. Okay? Maybe you're sleeping. Maybe you need a little bit more sleeping. Maybe 6 hours isn't enough. Maybe you need 7, so you got to take 7 hours out of here. Okay? But there's tons of time. And that's what I love about this particular worksheet, is that it shows you that you still have time. If you manage your time well, you still have time to do other things. All right? This is a nice video. This video covers some readiness ideas. It talks about the difference between high school and college, and how coming out of high school, it's a rare student that is totally ready for college. It's just a rare thing. All right, this is just a wrap up. I do want you to write this out, but remember, this doesn't get handed in, so don't worry about it. And finish this up. I know we just spent a bit of time on this, but it's important. We'll go faster on the next two things. This is assignment M1S8. It's on professional skills. We're going to go through it fairly quickly because this is a pretty easy thing to do in terms of me. But it talks about developing your professional skills. What are professional skills? What are hard and soft skills? Every artist was first an amateur, says Ralph Waldo Emerson. And the reference, what he's trying to say is you're not born the best quarterback on the team. You're not born a Michelangelo type artist. You're not born a Bill Gates entrepreneur. You have to learn it. And so we want to talk about skills that you learn, that you develop. And these are considered transferable skills. Hard skills are these concrete or objective abilities that you learn, perhaps have mastered. They are skills you can easily quantify, like using a computer, speaking a foreign language, operating a machine. These are your hard skills. These are things that you can say, yes, I know how to sew, or I know how to program a computer, right? Soft skills, on the other hand, are subjective skills that have changed very little over time. Such skills might pertain to the way you relate to people, or the way you think, or the ways in which you behave. For example, listening attentively, working well in groups, and speaking clearly. These aren't easy to measure. They're not easy to quantify, and they're kind of just things that are stuff you develop differently. The way you develop each one of these is slightly different. But soft skills are very important, and they're easily transferred to just about any situation, where hard skills are a little more specific. Okay, speaking a foreign language, if you speak Spanish, which is outstanding by the way, that's useful in certain situations, and it's highly useful. I wish my Spanish was much better than it is. But a soft skill of just being able to relate to people, that can be applied to almost any situation in which you're dealing with other people. So that's one thing I want you to notice here, is the difference between hard and soft skills. They're both developed you can develop them easily. And they're both are skills that you can, like I said, improve on. Soft skills are sometimes also called transferable skills because you can easily transfer them from one job to the other without much training. That's what they mean. Soft skills, if you can type, or if you can operate, if you can program a computer, that might be a hard skill, but a lot of times that's a soft skill. Programming a computer at a doctor's office might be highly similar to programming a computer at a machine shop, so they're highly transferable. Employers want both, but they really want these soft skills. They want soft skills in demand. The soft skills are in demand because employers are generally equipped to train new employees on a hard skill. So learning these soft skills developing your soft skills is going to do you a better job in the long run than learning very specific hard skills. So when you get to a potential employer, they're going to be asking you questions in an interview or whatever, and it's going to be the best thing to do is to try to relate your soft skills, not your hard skills. Obviously your hard skills, but not show them how you have an ability to adapt because you have a lot of soft skills. Transferable skills for any career path are things like dependable and punctual. That's a soft skill. Self-motivation, enthusiasm, commitment, willing to learn. This term lifelong learner is very important. Able to accept constructive criticism. Man, if you can't be criticized by an employer who's just trying to make you a better employee, if you take it personally, if you walk away with a steamed head and think, I hate that guy, I'm going to kill that guy, then you're not something that an employer needs. A soft skill is the ability to listen to what, maybe not the tone because they may be yelling at you, but listen to what they're having to say, and get past the emotion of the criticism and start looking at the content. Are you a good problem solver? Do you have good customer service skills? Well, I'm not going to go into a field that has customer service skills. Well, you're wrong. This is a customer service world. Everybody has customer service skills. I work at a high school campus, and when you come into my campus, you are far more likely to interact with a maintenance person, custodial person, than you are a teacher when you walk onto the campus for the first time. Guess who needs to have good customer service skills? Our custodial staff. Are you adaptable, and are you a team player? Okay. Do you have a positive attitude? Just read all these because I'm running out of time. But honesty, that's a soft skill that you can develop. Okay, how do you acquire these skills? Well, you can learn how to write clearly by doing more writing. You can learn how to speak clearly by doing public speaking. Also, one way to learn how to write more clearly is to do a lot of reading. You can learn about computers by just digging into a computer. Before I started my master's degree in technology, I had no computer training whatsoever, yet I was the technology person in my school because I could just figure it out. I spent a lot of time breaking things, and I wasn't afraid to take risks. And when you learn how to take risks, you can develop your soft skills. You can attend conferences and events, and IRSC is really good, and that's why we keep linking you to IRSC stuff. They're really good about developing these soft skills. We have lots of things that you can do, and you should look around and find it. They're everywhere. How to develop soft skills. Get involved in your part-time work. Get involved in extracurricular activities. We have the employment and career development programs here at IRSC. All of these things help you to develop your soft skills. All right, we're going to drop down here real fast, and we're going to talk about academic integrity. I'm running a little long here, so I'll be fast. I would prefer even to fail with honor than win by cheating. And you know what? I'm not going to go through this because I'm running low on time. It's straightforward. Go through here and read what they have to say. But the basic thing that I want you to learn from this is, what are these things? What is fabrication? What is deception? What is plagiarism? I find that a lot of my students don't even realize that they're plagiarizing because it's so common. They think that's how you're supposed to do it. Learn what plagiarism is. Okay? If you did not create it, then do not suggest that it is yours. If you took it from somewhere else, even if you're paraphrasing, even if you're modifying, cite it. Nobody cares if you cite it. Okay? Nobody cares if it's yours or not. We want to know that you're not plagiarizing. But listen, when it comes to academic integrity, the one thing I want you to think about is this. If you ever find yourself in a situation in which you have to cheat, ask yourself this question. Why? Why did I get to this point where I have to cheat? It is almost always a management problem. Maybe you didn't manage your time very well or yourself very well. And as a result, you put yourself in a situation where you have to cheat. You are a capable person and you are able to do these things. And if you simply put the amount of time in that is required to be successful in a class, you should never have to cheat. All right, now we're going to take a look at the assessment. By the way, the quickest way to get there is just to click Module 1 again. And depending on how fast your internet is, of course mine is, ancient. When you finally do get into Module 1, just scroll down to the bottom and go to the Module 1 assessments. These are the 3 assignments for Module 1. Okay, and all the assignments you have to do will be found here except for the final assignment. But every module has a module assessments folder, and each one should have 3. And today we are working on Module 1A3 quiz. When you click it, it'll take you into the quiz. It'll give you instructions, and it'll tell you what to do. There is not a time limit. This test can be saved and resumed later, so you can pause it and go back. But once you start it, you need to get it finished. It shows up as being incomplete in my grade book, and I can't give you a grade on it. So go through there, take your time. I hope you took notes. If you took notes, use your notes. I'll go even one more on you with this because I believe this works. If you know someone in the class and you guys want to do this together by Zoom or by phone, you're welcome to. Now, one thing I will tell you is there's more than 20 questions in the test bank. So if you're working together with a friend, you might not get the same question at the same time, but that's okay. You can help each other. I don't have a problem with that. In fact, I think that's an incredible way to learn. I would not let you do that on a test, but I'm happy to let you do that on a quiz. When you're done, make sure you hit submit, and it will send the grade to me. And that is all the assignment for Module 1A3. Okay, get to work. See you on the next assignment.